Hello everyone, this is Lulu Talks and today we're here at another coffee break episode, and today I have a very special guest that I've been wanting to talk to for a long time, but I hadn't, and I was thinking, you know what, the first and best way to start this and meeting you, it's in a podcast with coffee. So hello everyone, here's our special guest, Mr. Dr. Andrés Rivas.
Thank you. Excellent, Lulu. And I always wanted to talk to you too.
Yes, thank you.
I've been looking forward to meet you personally, and now here. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Likewise, I've been hearing a lot of stories from you. I've heard and seen your page and everything, and I wanted to get to know you, but also what you do, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. But first of all, I want you to hear your story, Doctor. Tell me about where you're from, what you've done, everything.
I'm originally from Venezuela.
Okay.
And I was born and grew up in Venezuela, and until 1993, that's when I graduated from the university. And my wife, who is my wife now, right, at that time we were being boyfriend, girlfriend.
Okay.
Right, after graduation, because I got a scholarship, I proposed her, so we got married 3 months later after our graduation. And 3 days later after our marriage, right, our wedding, we were here in the United States.
So it was a fast
trip, right? A fast change in our life, right? I was always pursuing to come here and study. I strongly believe that through education we can change many things, right?
I agree.
So I thought that through getting my postgrad or my doctoral, master and doctoral studies, I wanted to come here to do it here in the United States. So that I came here to the United States, to Madison, Wisconsin.
Were you always like A+ student, or you were always with your perfect grades, or how did you get that opportunity to come to the United States?
That's an excellent question because to be honest, the answer would be no.
Okay.
Right. So I would say that my life is split in two stages. First, while I was in high school, right? High school, I was not the best student. As a matter of fact, I graduated I barely passed to go for my graduation and have the party.
Okay.
Right? I was in the top bottom of the students, right? And it sounds crazy because many people think that I was already like that, the best student and preparing for that. But believe me, it wasn't that the case.
Okay.
But it was in the last year of my high school that it really changed my life. I had I was lucky or the blessed, I would say, to meet important people who really motivate me. I have an uncle, Juan Chavez, and also I have a professor there from high school, Professor Merino, who impacted in my life and who showed me the person that I can be and who motivated me. And then when I started college, after coming from the top bottom, sounds crazy, right? It sounds I'm coming from the top bottom, right? To be in the top 5, right? And in college, and being there in the dean list, and graduating number 1 and getting the scholarship to come here. So, and then from there, I always got the education, and I think that two things happened, right? The motivation from then, the guidance from these two persons. Obviously, my mom and my dad always played an important role, and they never gave up on believing on me. And plus, then I found my wife when I started college. So it happened. 6 years we were dating until I decided to get graduated together, marry, and then come here, like I mentioned.
Wasn't it scary for her to like change your whole life and come to the United States with you? I
think yes, it's kind of scary. I believe so, right? I'm pretty sure that she would say yes. You were not here inside me,
of course.
But I assume that it was scary. But when there is love and everything, I mean, sometimes we give up certain things, her dreams, and I really appreciate everything she did because of love.
Yes.
And we came here together, but she had also the opportunity to come here and study and go beyond of what she had to do here.
That's good.
Not only the wife, but it's being together on building things.
And that she did her own stuff when she was here already. Like, having her dreams as well. It's good.
Correct.
That's very good.
Correct. So we moved to Wisconsin. It was in October of 1993.
Okay.
Where I grew up, or where we both grew up, is right in front of the ocean, on the beach, right? So it's always summer.
Yes.
And October in Wisconsin is like the winter here in Laredo, Texas.
Yes.
So imagine for us, it was too cold. We were like the astronauts. We
totally.
get picture completely different. We got picture from the newspapers. The two astronauts from Venezuela. It's amazing, right? Because we look weird on the farmer markets, like totally covered.
Like super exaggerated big coats.
But it's because we were not used to. But next year we were already used to.
Of course.
The climate and everything. So we came to study English. My English wasn't good at all. I just knew how to, this is a car, red tape, or whatever, right? That I could say that, but I had to study English first. Make sure that I have the TOEFL pass and then prepare for the GMAT. You know, all those things that we have to go through.
Yes.
And to make sure that we get the acceptance letter from the master. And in the meantime also, we were just newly married, right, with so many dreams on preparing things, and we were enjoying. And well, soon enough we got pregnant, and now
it's family time.
Family time, right, to go and do it. So I had more responsibility at a very young age, and I had to step up, and we did it together. My wife and I did it. We all go through challenges, right? And there is an author that I always mention is Jim Rohn. I recommend people to listen to him. He has audios and books and everything, right? So he always says that the blows of the winds happens to everybody. It could be negative, it could be positive, but everybody goes through the same challenges. What we have to learn is how to set the sails to go to the places where we want to go to our north, right? And therefore that's what I learned at that young age, and say, how do I see the challenges, and how can I take the positive things that I learned from back my country and from my when I was younger, on learning through this process, and it helped me a lot, right?
I think it's very rich whenever you have a cultural background from other places, and then you bring that into the new life that you're getting. Let's say, for example, I come from Mexico as well, and I feel like my culture helps me bring the best out of me in this other culture. It doesn't mean one's better than the other, doesn't mean that I like one more than the other. It's just both of them make part of who I am. So I guess like bringing that Venezuelan culture and traditions that you had made you grow as an individual here, and it's different because I feel like Americans have their own way of doing things, and we Latinos have other ways of doing
another way, right? And the beautiful thing also is that we try to get the best of the two places, right? The best of the American, the best of the Venezuelan, and probably we create a third one, which is our own way of doing it, right?
Yes, which I believe is what we live here in the frontier, like our own culture.
Our own culture,
just we understand.
Yeah,
for sure. So when you came to the U.S., you had this like American dream, like we call it. Did that change through your process here, or was it always the same American dream that we all see in the movies?
And you know, it's funny because you mentioned something that is right now the topic that I love the most, which is the American dream, right? And I always ask people, what is the American dream, right? And when people answer that question, is mostly you want to have your house, you want to travel, you want to have things, right? And that's partially the American dream, but there is more behind that.
Of course.
Okay, there is much more behind that, right? So yes, my American dream at the beginning, I came here to study, and the objective was to go back to my country and provide what I learned from here. I have to pay back to my country. But unfortunately, at that time, Venezuela, got another president, and that president didn't have the same idea of the previous one, and he ordered to all the people, studying here in the United States, to go back to the country. And unfortunately, I said, I'm gonna stay here. Okay, so after coming here with the idea that you have the scholarship and everything was gonna be smooth, it completely changed.
Of course.
Right? It completely changed, right? Because all of a sudden, okay, you have this scholarship, you have this amount to cover your tuitions and everything, but now you don't have it.
Right.
So if they tumble and they change they flip the tortilla immediately to things that, okay, now what we do. And that's where what you mentioned, Lulu, is that where the Venezuelan, where the American, where the new person comes out of you, you start building your own personality. So well, we all know that there exists the mojadito, right? The wetback. So have you met somebody who is the mojadito, the wetback?
Not really.
Well, you have one. You have now one person in front of you. I really became a mojadito. I had to, step up because now my wife is pregnant. We are pregnant. We're bringing a new family, so we have to step up. So go back to Venezuela was not the solution.
Yes, of course. You needed to do whatever you need to do with what you had at the moment.
Exactly. So the things that I learned during very young age, thanks to my dad and my mom, on teaching me, you need to know how to paint, you need to know how to fix things, you need to know this. So that came here, that at that time I became a painter, cleaning houses, cutting the grass, waiter, many things that people do not believe.
Yes,
that we have to go through, right? As a matter of fact, now that we have a lot of Venezuelan moving to the United States, and many people talk about that, it's difficult. Hey, it's not difficult. We all have to go through that situation. Don't think that we didn't go through. We went through, but the only thing is that we were not talking to everybody what we did.
Yes, of course. And it's nothing to be like ashamed of or anything. I think that's another thing that people don't understand. They see this job sometimes as like diminishing or that like a rough pad, but as you mentioned, like everyone needs to go through a certain rough pad again in order for them to succeed and actually see what they can do. Like how they're capable of doing certain things, and I think it's one step at a time going up.
Exactly. So we had to step up. My wife had to work. I had to work doing things that, we came with a profession and with a degree. We were really successful back in our country, and now we have to go and clean apartments and do that. And we did it happily.
My mom always says, whatever you do, just do it with a smile on your face.
Exactly. And that's what really matters, right? We never saw that situation like the end of our life or career. We saw it like this.
The
beginning, right? That this is a new person that is in the process of the transformation of who we're going to become. As a matter of fact, I like to call it not human beings, but human becomings.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Because it's who we are becoming to be, right? So I had to clean, I have to paint, I have to, as a matter of fact, I always have this joke that I told my dad. My dad was working in a bank. He was a banker for so many years.
Okay.
And the cashier in Spanish is cajero. Cashier, cajero, which also means box. Cajero means also box, right? So I called my dad. I said, Dad, I'm working as a cajero. Cashier is cajero here in the United States, and he says, wow, in what bank are you working? No, as a cajero, boxing cajeros. Yes. So try to get the fun of something that you're going through, right? But I never, my wife and I never stopped believing, right?
That's good.
And we came here to study, and we decided to do the master, and then I was working for a couple of years with a company while I was finishing my mastering, and through the process of getting to my PhD, right? And actually, I worked for a company that they wanted me to stay there, right? But because my objective was to become a doctor, get my PhD in finance, right?
Wow.
That's what I really wanted to pursue, and I left that position, and then I came here from Wisconsin. I moved to Texas. Now I was in Edinburgh, Texas. I'm doing now my PhD in international finance.
So you wanted to continue studying, and you wanted to become that doctor. Was that in your plans since the very, very beginning, or is something that arose while you were here in the U.S.?
This is a good question.
Okay.
Because I believe that it was planted there subconsciously.
Okay.
Because of my families, right? I have a family who are in the education and the academia, and my dad also was saying, a doctor. We are 5 brothers and 1 sister, right? And he was always talking about the education. You're gonna be a doctor, right? And my mom also talking about it's through education that you can accomplish, and it's true, right? Up to a certain point, right? So when I started in college, right after in high school, I didn't think about being a PhD, right? But it was in college that I said, "Wow, I wanna be somebody. I wanna have the knowledge to go and do things to impact
other
people's lives."
Yeah.
Right. And I thought that through education, I was gonna be able to do it, and it helped a lot. Right. I came here and I said, when I heard about getting the scholarship, only the top 3 people will get the scholarship, and I said I'm gonna be one of those.
That's nice.
And I got the top 1 after being in the top bottom of the right.
There you go. So there's like an example that you do need to get that effort, and you do need to believe in yourself. I feel like a lot of people have a lot of potential, but they don't trust the process. They don't believe in themselves, so they stay in that I should have done it, but they never actually do the first step.
Correct.
So what would you recommend?
Correct.
Like, what was your motivation at that point?
My motivation, I think that the first things that you need to identify is who do you want to become? What do you want to accomplish out of life? Okay. Actually, when I started working here in TMU, I'm gonna do fast forward a little bit.
Fast forward.
Working as a professor in TMU, they have a thing, a slogan that says, "What do you want out of life?"
Okay.
Right. And I always believe in that. It's in reality, what do you want out of life? And then once you know what you want to, obviously, it's not gonna be the perfect things there because you have, it's kind of flurry, right? Right.
But you have a vision.
Kind of. And you're building it as you get close to that goal, and you're looking for. But once you have that vision, now you have to make the decision to go and work. But the strong desire is there. Okay, the strong desire is always the first phase for everything that you want to. You want to open a business, you have to have a strong desire. You want to be a professional, have a master or a bachelor or a PhD. Everybody has different.
Yes.
I mean, not everybody has to be a doctor. Not everybody has to be a physician. Not everybody has to be. We need bakers. We need policemen. We need everything, right? But have the strong desire, and then plan it, right? Start working. Start looking for help, right? Look for those group of people that are going to be helping you, and then go into action. Okay, go into action.
Which is the hard part.
Which is the hard part, right? They say there, the motivation is what is going to be waking you up to go and do something. But it's persistency that is going to be helping you to accomplish your goals and dreams.
I agree.
Which is the action. Because there will be some times that, hey, you're hitting a tree, and you're hitting a rock, and you're hitting many things in there, and it's easy to fall into the trap of excuses.
Oh yeah.
The alibis.
Yeah, we all have those excuses, right? Every day.
But if you are, surrounded with people like you that want to accomplish things, when you're surrounded with or reading, right, nurturing yourself, learning, right? I always says here, the more you learn, the more the L disappear.
Okay. Oh, I like that. Or for those who didn't understand.
Okay.
Yes.
So the more you learn, the more your L disappear. You're gonna be accomplishing more things as you learn here.
Yes, for sure. So then you started being a professor at TMU when you came to Laredo. That's the first thing you did here.
Yeah.
And how was like being a professor? Did you like it?
I love it.
Okay, you loved it.
It's not like it. I love it. When people think about professor, they think about like the person that only goes to school to teach.
Okay.
Right? Oh, you're a professor. Oh, how many hours do you work? How many classes do you teach? Oh, so they make up the numbers. They say, so you're teaching 3 classes, and each class is 2 hours. So pretty much you have like 6 hours a week to work. And I said, oh, that's what you see.
That's what you think.
That's what you think. But the reality is that the professor should be doing much more. Right? And in our case is at the university, we have to do research. Okay? We have to publish.
Yes.
And that's what we are trained for the creation of knowledge. Okay? Different from other colleges. We at the university, we have to do research for the creation of knowledge. So that's one side. The other side is obviously teaching, and the third side is service. So it's like a triangle, equilateral triangle, right? So we should not forget, or at least that was my idea. I cannot talk just because, right? I cannot talk for other people. I can talk about the way I saw it. But I'm too hyper. I want to be involved in many things, right? As you can see. So I love teaching, definitely. I don't know if the students could say the same thing, that I love teaching, but I love teaching.
But you did,
right? And I try to bring my experience, my personal experience, my experience working also, rather than only
just giving the lecture.
The lecture. No, for me, I want to go beyond so that they can get an incentive, because there are classes that can be very boring.
Yes.
Because you don't see the application, but if you see the application, so I wanted to do that, right? Because I had a lot of professors who were very boring, and I said if one day I was gonna be doing it, I will say this, I will do this. Okay. So I did that. The second thing is the research, and while I was doing my PhD, I started working on a specific topic, which is called the spillover effects, right? Is how the volatility of some stock markets can be impacted in other areas. So I developed on that. And one of the things that I'm very proud of, I want to share with you, is that people start learning about my publication, and I was invited by the universities in Europe and by the European Union to go on and see the impact of the European countries in Latin America. And so I was very proud of that and very happy, right? Because I wanted the persistent, once again, where I wanted to. I found a gap and I started, working on that. And but then I found out another area, which is personal finance, and that's where I'm heading to now, right? The personal finance, because while I was going to other countries and talk about the spillover effects and how the stock markets affect, all of a sudden your neighbor, right, your friend, right, your students, everybody is lacking something on their finance. So I said, okay, yes, the world needs us, but your neighbor, your family, right,
needs you too. Yes,
you're next to you is struggling. So I started doing research also in that area. And a third component, the third one, which is service, I work a lot with a student organization that when we brought it here in 2006, the name of that organization was C.I.A, Student in Free Enterprise. And the idea is that I always believe that we needed to have the experience of what we do, right? And I noticed that, for example, if you're studying, let's say, for example, to become a doctor, well, the doctor have their labs, right? They have their dead body to do things, right, to practice. In chemistry, they have their lab too, and they can do things, right? The engineers, they have their labs, but in the College of Business, the reality is we don't have a lab.
No.
Right? So I learned that this organization was there, Student in Free Enterprise. So we brought that organization, right, with a professor at that time, Michael Patricks, and we both brought it here and started working. We started with 2 students, and all of a sudden, at the end, when I left the university, there were more than 85 students.
Oh, that's nice. That's
involved in that. But the good thing is that we were applying and helping the students to apply their knowledge in the community.
So like by service.
By services. And we were providing the knowledge of finance, economics, and all these things that we learn in class to help the community.
Oh, that's nice.
And the good thing is that because of that type of projects, not only we won in the regional and in the national, but also at the international level. So we were recognized even as a small university, as it was, TMU now is growing, but at that time we were probably 4,000 or 5,000 students, and now getting into the big levels, right? The big leagues, it really
was a big success.
Yeah, so I work on that, on providing services not only to students but the community, and so many other projects that
you did there.
Yeah.
So I'm a business major, and I'm studying accounting actually, and I'm gonna graduate in a month. And I know the theory. I like school. I think I'm a good student, and I get good grades and everything. But I still have this like fear of going into the real world and not knowing enough about business. I don't think it's a fear that I only have. I think it's a belief that a lot of students have in the business world.
That's right.
Do you have any like recommendations, or what do you think, or like, I know stepping into real life and practicing makes everything different, but still, like, do you have any advice that you could give us?
Yes, fear is not bad.
Okay.
Having fear is not bad. Having fear means that we should be humble.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that we should be constantly learning. The moment that you stop having fear is the moment that you start dying.
Okay. Yes.
Okay? It's the moment
because it protects you.
Yes.
The fear.
Right? So what happened here is, how can I overcome that fear? It's just jumping.
Okay.
Don't fear to make mistakes. Now is the time for you to go and learn. Okay, so go and jump. Right? I remember when I was a little kid, I was afraid of the going into a swimming pool or the beach, right? Okay. I didn't want to get there because of something that happened when I was a little boy. The wave rolled me, and I was afraid to that, right?
Yes.
And I remember being in the swimming pool around surrounding. I was like probably 12 years old or something. My brothers all playing in the swimming pool, and I was outside. I was outside enjoying. Oh yes. But my little sister, she was 6 years younger than me, so she was probably 6 or less. So she came here running, and she pushed me to the swimming pool, and I got in the swimming pool, and guess what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing for the fear that I had, but it changed my life.
It may give you a lesson.
It gave me a lesson. I said, what I was, holding myself for so many years of not enjoying with my brothers on the swimming pool, and guess what happened? And then I end up being one of the swimmers for the state.
There you go. So see what happened? We're holding ourselves thinking too much. You're very young. Oh yeah.
You're probably 20, 21, going there to graduate. Go jump. Now is the time for you to make mistakes. You're going to be learning through your mistakes, and remember what I told you, you're becoming, we're human becoming. And how do we do that? By going forward. So going back to that, you were a professor. I know you're not anymore a professor there. So I guess my question would be, like, if you are in finance and you know that having this profession as a professor was a stable job that would give you a regular salary and everything was, let's say the word secure, for just to use a word, why did you decide to get up? Very good question. Different aspects.
Okay.
Right? But I will say that the first one is that when my wife and I were dating back in college, we started very young. She was 19, I was 20. We always had a dream.
Okay.
We always were doing things to become entrepreneurs. We were buying things and selling. We used to travel in Venezuela buying goods to go and sell it over here. We always wanted to do something together. So that was there. Yes, I came to the United States, and she gave up all her dreams, right, to come here and do it together, to help me. But it was me. So remember, it's like we have two legs, and in order for us to really run fast, we need to work together, right?
Yes.
So that was there. And then second, what I mentioned to you, on doing research, it opened my eyes, right? It opened up my vision, my spectrum, because many things started happening around. I started realizing, okay, I'm traveling to other places and helping to the government, but my neighbor is suffering.
Of course.
My best friend is suffering. So that's the second thing. I started looking at that, right? So I started preparing myself to see what can I do. The passion to have our own business, the passion to help, and on top of that, during Holy Week, what a coincidence! Again, we're talking about the Holy Week. The priest was talking, and he was saying, because if you have a talent and you're not helping your brother and sister, your neighbor, so what is the point of you being here?
Yes, that's true.
Okay? You have a talent, what's the point of you not helping people? So all these kind of things starting,
to get
together until I have the passion, but the fear is there.
Yes.
Because this is start all over. I knew that I had to start all over.
And at this point you had a family.
I had everything. A family responsibility. My daughter was gonna go to the university, and on top of that, remember I told you that I end up studying by myself, but I didn't have a scholarship.
Yes.
Well, the other question is that somebody will ask, okay, how do you pay your university, your PhD? Well, I found out credit cards, and I thought that yes, the credit cards is going to help me, which helped me to pay off my education. But I graduated with a huge debt.
Okay.
So it's incredible because I'm talking about a professor in finance.
Yes.
With finance issues.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
No, yeah,
right? So my daughter is graduating, and I said, I believe in education, and I said, let me support her. So you making money, she doesn't get the scholarship, I have to step up.
Yes.
So I'm looking for, and started working for a part-time income, being as a professor. In this that I now love, because I started learning more about the needs that exist there for the families. But at the same time, I mean, the education is very important.
Yes.
But to have the access to what we do is even more important, right? So you see, it's like this, the perfect storm in the right way. All the things put together. The reason why now is to support my daughter, right? You see, there's always should be a reason, like the motivation, right? The reason is work with my wife. She immediately decided. So we started like 3.5 years, 4 years, part-time doing these things. And when I woke up and I turned 50, I woke up and I told my wife, you know what? I think I'm ready to go and do this full-time.
Wow, it's nice.
And let me tell you something. I was really afraid that she says, "No, are you crazy?" Because she's the one managing the house. You're crazy. How come? You're a professor. You are already. I had tenure. I have everything. I didn't have to leave the university. I was completely in my comfort zone. I was teaching 9 months, 3-month vacations. Enjoy life.
Yes.
And teaching. But my passion is other. Is going help. My passion started on helping the neighbor that is suffering, helping the friend that is suffering, helping, the cousin of this person, right?
Of course.
And with my wife together.
I feel like sometimes we need to live everything that we needed to learn and get these experiences in order for us to get here, even if it took you 50 years to get there, even if you decided to do this because of a certain situation or a motivation that you needed. So when you are there at the position where how you said, where God takes you into the place and the time that's perfect for you, then everything's gonna line up.
That's right.
But I think it's also a leap of faith and willing to be risking things.
Very important, because the word fear comes because you're facing risk.
Yes.
But we need to have that leap of faith, and we need to work. Okay, because sometimes I realize that there are people who say, well, you need to believe that the universe is going to be providing you, or God is going to be providing. Yes, and we should be praying, but at the same time we should be praying and acting and moving, working. right? Because of what we were talking before. So now it's a new era for me. And my wife. And the beautiful thing is that before it was me with the support of my wife, but now it's my wife and I working to us. Exactly. I love that. It's us working together to move forward, to accomplish things. And now we're in the process of building our business, and even, well, you all know that we went through the pandemic, which is very difficult, but we have people who are our coaches also that are guiding us, right, in the same industry that we believe that it will work, right? We keep working and helping people and building in this business. Believe me, there are many things that we can accomplish.
So I didn't tell you all, but right now I'm here at your office with Primerica.
Yes.
And I want you to tell us a little bit of what you do and how you help here. I also see, because I see a logo here. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I've seen it also in your post, and I've heard it that you call like champions. You call everybody champions. Is there like a reason for it?
I'll tell you what happened here, right? When you want to succeed in life, in whatever you want to do, you need to become somebody. Okay? And that somebody is a champion. Okay? You need characteristics like being relentless. You need characteristics like believing yourself, right? And so many things in here. But when you put all these characteristics together, right, faith and everything, you become a champion. Okay, you become a champion, and the champions are the people who really change the world, the world around you, right? Not an ordinary person, but somebody who is a champion. Okay, so every time that I see somebody, you know, going through a breakthrough and going to the next level, wow,
that's a champion.
You're a champion.
Oh, I like.
For me, you're a champion, right? Does that make sense? So while I was in college teaching, right? You know, and somebody decided to go, you know, for the Call of Duty, do something extra on their own, right? Because nowadays many people are talking about, okay, hey, there is this guest speaker that is coming here. Do I get an extra point?
Points.
Yeah. And I say, well, you know what? No.
Not really.
You have to do it on your own. Why? So when they do it on their own, you're a champion there. You're showing that you're a champion. You see? Because I mean...
It's an opportunity just for them.
For them. It's something for you that is going to make you different, which is what we were doing back in our countries. We had to work for that. I mean, nobody gave me an extra point for me going somewhere else and that.
Of course.
But now I see the benefit in here that because of those things, I'm getting now the extra points in my life. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
So for me, that's where the word champion is coming. Now, sometimes we believe that we're champions, but the reality is that you become the real champion when you are in action. Okay?
So you just don't have the idea actually doing something.
In doing it. So that's why our team here with Primerica is called Champions in Action.
Oh, okay. C.I.A.
C.I.A. Right? So I always tell people, wow, you're a C.I.A. And then people will say, what do you mean with that? You know, here in the United States, they short everybody, everything, right? So C.I.A. Champion in Action. So that's where our teammates is coming from, Champions in Action.
So actually yesterday I had class. I had, I think it was like management. Yes. And we were learning about a lot of things, and we were actually talking about stress. Like yesterday's topic was stress. And I saw the statistics, and I learned that 78% of the people here in the US, their first cause of stress is money.
Yes.
And I was like, I'll ask the doctor tomorrow what he thinks about this. Is this actually true?
It's actually true, and this is something that I always tell people. I mean, 8 out of 10 people are stressed out because of debt. Okay? Why? Just picture it. Okay, just picture it. You have a family. You're married. Now you have kids. And you are living paycheck to paycheck. And you have to pay the house, either the rent or the mortgage, and you have to pay the car, and you have to pay the college or the school, and you don't have enough money would that stress that?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. But guess what happened? Most people, instead of attacking the problem, they're going to let it go, right?
They let it grow.
And because they want to get rid of that, they start using more debt.
Oh, yes.
And then they go to the mall and they purchase things, and now it's even easier. Now you buy online.
Oh, yeah. That's problematic.
Problematic, right?
Yes.
So you get more stress. So 8 out of 10 people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
Right? 8 out of 10 people are stressed out. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So it really, and then not only that stress, but look what happened when the stress comes. Is people start fighting, they start divorcing,
medical problems,
right? So those are the things that we need to understand, and we did research back in the university. I sat down with a group of professors that we got together to see how we can help the community, and the nurse came here and talked about the health problems, diabetes, cholesterol, those kind of things. And then the other area, the psychologists mentioned these. The other ones, everybody from the topics were talking about these things. And at the end, they turned around to me and said, well, what the College of Business will think about that, what we can do. And they were talking and providing, right, solutions for the problem. And then when I go around and I said, you know what? The singer Arjona.
I love
you know him?
Yeah, I love him.
Arjona sing a song that is El problema no es el problema. Okay? El problema no es que me dejas, el problema es que yo te quiero. So it's a different, because you left me, right? So the problem is that you leave me, the problem is that I love you. He says that in his song. So I tell them, listen, don't you believe that the problem is not the problem? And then to everybody say, here's the College of Business, bring them always with those
with their problems,
with the problem, the esoteric things that everything is money. So I said, well, let's think about that. If you have issues with money and you don't have enough money, and wouldn't you go and stop in the Stripes and buy sodas and tacos rather than go and buy healthy food?
Of course, a coping mechanism.
Right? If you are having problem, wouldn't you too leave the kids by themselves and go in there? So wouldn't you agree with that? Is related to money? It's economic problem?
It starts from there and starts growing. Unfortunately.
Right?
And we revolve around money in this world.
Exactly. Because we don't have the education.
So thank you, Doctor, for the time here. I really appreciate you giving me the space, giving me, your time, your wise words, everything that you share with us. I'm sure that someone out there is gonna come here, hopefully, and talk to you. But before we go, I want you to share with the people that are seeing us today or hearing us, something that you want for them to know, something that you want for the world to hear today.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, thank you, on the contrary, right? Because you came here and giving me the honor to be with you, right? I really love it. I have the passion to share what we do because I believe that the word is needed there. One of the things that I always believe and I have been thinking about is about freedom, okay? And when we talk about freedom, not necessarily means like freedom of speech and freedom of wearing the arms and then bringing here, right? That's what most people will come here. But freedom means what? Freedom means is what is the time that you have to go and do the things that you really want to. Okay, like the time to go and help people, like the time to be doing things that you want to. And in reality, freedom is measured by two things: time and money.
Okay,
right? That's why we talk about these. So imagine yourself having the possibility to impact the life of the people surrounding you because you have the real freedom. You have the resources and you have also the time to go and impact people on organizations, on the church, the people around over there, the young kids, the children's hospital, things like that. And so freedom is super important.
Perfect. Take that into consideration. And again, Doctor, thank you. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your patience, everything. And this is not the last, like, not the first, nor it's the first, but not the last time for us to be here.
This is the first of many coming here.
I'm
right?
sure.
The doors are always open, and you guys, the door is always open for you too.
Yes, of course. Can you share your social media so they can
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me there, and with my Facebook is Andrés Rivas. You can find me there, no problem. And also with the Instagram, you can find me with Dr. Andres Rivas. And also I have Instagram. In addition, we have LinkedIn also with Dr. Andres Rivas, and also my email address, which is Dr. Arch, which is DRARCH @gmail.com.
Perfect. Cheers to this, doctor.
Cheers to this. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for the coffee.
Thank you.
And hopefully we have more coffee together.
Of course.
And I wish you the best.
Bye. Thank you. Likewise. This is Lulu Talks, and don't forget to see the next coffee break.
Bye-bye, and see you at the top because the bottom is too crowded. Thank you.
Ooh. I like that.